Show me.
Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of I Welcome You to Kung Fu, the show where I have a guest who is not just drowning in martial arts cinema as I am pretty much on the daily, and I let them pick any movie from the genre that piques their interest, and I pick a movie that I think complements their choice. My guest this month currently sits at 113,000 followers on TikTok, at least since last time I checked a few days ago. Last year, he took his already pretty successful TikTok to new heights, doing episode-by-episode reviews of Avatar: The Last Airbender. And, in my opinion, I consider him a bit of an earthbender. He seems pretty grounded, seems pretty, resilient, extremely loyal. Plus, his hungar is pretty powerful. Me, myself, I consider myself a waterbender. It's not really for any personality reasons. It's just because when I'm in the shower, I can, make the water run down my fingertips, And if you think that's cool, you should just see what I can do in a swimming pool. Brandon, I welcome you to Kung Fu.
Wu-Tang martial expert. There's not many who can match up with him.
I am so happy to be here.
Yeah.
That's not the intro I was expecting, but thank you so much.
What do you have in mind?
I didn't know that you were going to be starting off with here's how many followers I have and all this stuff, but I'm so pumped to be here. I have been eyeing your show since your first episode because you and I have gone back and talked about quite a few martial arts movies. I don't know about some of your other guests, but I would say that I'm probably more well versed in martial arts movies than the average film talk person.
Yeah.
I think I've even shared with you some of the pictures of my martial arts collection. I've got dozens of Shaw Brothers movies, and so I love martial arts movies, particularly out of Hong Kong. So
right.
I'm pumped to finally be in the dojo with martial arts film freaks. So I'm happy to be here.
Hell yeah, welcome. Before we jump into any movies, if you want to let people know what's going on over on Brandontoksmovies.
Yeah, thanks. So like you mentioned, I did Avatar: The Last Airbender in 2025. That was so much fun. Most of my content revolves around reviews and rankings and recommendations. I do a lot of movie recommendations. But I kind of started getting into TV a little bit, did Avatar. I just wrapped up Arcane. That one was mostly kind of live watch-alongs. But we are now getting into The Legend of Korra, which I've heard mixed reviews on, but I don't care. I'm the mixed reviews make it way more enticing to me than universal praise.
I've never seen Korra, so I'm probably going to start watching that while you go through it. And the only thing I've seen is a handful of fight scenes, and all I'll say about those is they look incredible.
Okay, good.
Things look like they step up.
I knew nothing about Avatar: The Last Airbender aside from a few different things before I started it. I know even less about Korra.
Right.
The things, in fact, some of the things that I thought I knew about Avatar were actually from Korra. I thought that Appa was she's a big white dog. I thought that was Appa when I started Avatar, and that's all that I know about Korra apparently. So I'm really excited to get into it. But yeah, outside of that, reviews and recommendations. I just love talking about movies, and so that's what I've got going on.
Yeah, Avatar. So I'm 29, and it was on the perfect time of me being a kid. And my brother is 5 years older than me, and he never watched Nickelodeon. He did when he was much, much younger, but as he got being 5 years older than me, it was just a channel he stopped watching. And then Avatar became like the one thing he would watch. Like he would always be like, "Is Avatar on? Put on Nickelodeon."
Yeah, I'm probably the same age as around the same age as your brother, and so except I didn't have that with my younger brothers where they were still watching Nickelodeon. Um, and so I think you're probably around, you're a little bit younger than my youngest brother. And he was still watching Nickelodeon, and he was the one that I kind of saw him watching Avatar a couple of times. But I was like, this is still just like a kid's show. And when that show came out, I thought I was like too cool for it. Like, oh, dude, I'm 15, man. I'm not watching cartoons anymore. I'm watching MXC. That's what I'm doing on a Friday night.
Oh, okay, okay. And look, it's weird. Like even now, the things we'll put on the TV just for comfort. Like I've recently, not recently, it's been a while. I canceled my Paramount Plus because I was not watching it. But when I had it, my wife just wanted like she needed background noise. She was working, she was doing chores, whatever she was doing, she needed background noise. The one thing she thought of that was the perfect background noise was SpongeBob. So we just had SpongeBob playing in the background all day.
That's awesome.
It's just the
Yeah, Paramount Plus is a exactly. It's a weird streaming service. There's only like 3 or 4 things I think are actually like I really want to watch this, and then everything else is just kind of like the background of that app. It's like Avatar, SpongeBob, and then like occasionally like I'll watch something from it's like the nostalgia streamer. It's like, "Oh, remember this show?" And then you just like pull up, watch it for a couple episodes, and then you're like, "All right, that's enough of that."
Yeah, pretty much, just about. Let's jump into a little bit of movie talk here before we jump into movies. You've mentioned you have some experience and some history with martial arts and kung fu cinema. Do you want to dive into that a little bit more? What's some of that experience there?
Let's see. So let's see, where would I like begin? So when I was in college, I would talk with my friends about movies a lot, and I've always loved international movies, but I'm trying to think what like the first like martial arts movie I ever saw was. But when I was in college, I was like, I really want to start like branching out and getting into things that like no one's really talking about. And so I remember when I was so I lived in the Philippines for a couple of years, and when I was there, this is right, yeah, the very first like I would say kung fu like martial arts movie I ever like really saw was True Legend.
Yeah.
And I watched it on a boat. And I was like, this movie is sick. Like, I love this movie. I can tell you're probably looking for the Blu-ray somewhere.
For my copy of True Legend. Yeah.
I wish I had it on my shelf right now, but I watched this movie and I was like, oh, this movie is really cool. And then that scene where he sticks his hands in the little sand pit and the scorpions and spiders and snakes bite his hands and he gets the venom fist.
Masters like the poison fist or whatever. Yeah.
I was like, dude, I am so into this shit, man. And from that point on, anytime that there was a martial arts movie playing on a boat, on a bus, I was locked. And then I came home from the Philippines and I heard about The Raid. And I was like, I need to watch that. Watched it, fell in love with it. I was like, the guy, if you want to watch cool fight movies, go over to Brandon's apartment. And I remember I took a group of guys to go see The Raid 2. They all hated it. And I was like, this might be my favorite movie of all time.
That's insane. How do you hate it?
I know. I like The Raid 2 a little bit more than the first one personally. But eventually I was like, man, I really there was like a tweet. I saw a tweet from someone that I really liked, and they mentioned how the Shaw Brothers collection that was coming out, the Shaw Scope series from Arrow Video, had a movie that they were really looking forward to. Like they were really looking forward to owning. And I was like, oh shoot, dude. What is this?
Right here?
It was a set 1. And he was like, I'm really looking forward to this. And I was like, what is that? And so then I looked it up and I was like, oh, apparently these movies look really good. So it was for set 2. So I bought set 1. And then I watched it and I was like, I fell in love with Shaw Brothers movies. And I'm like the biggest Shaw Brothers guy. Well, not the biggest, but like I love the Shaw Brothers movies. I own volumes 1, 2, and 3 of those collections.
Yeah,
And then I've got, I think, the first
three of
2
them
or
up there.
3 sets of the Shout Factory ones as well.
I haven't bought a
Yeah,
single one of those because they're expensive.
they are expensive. I've only gotten them either with gift cards or for birthdays or Christmas.
I've
So,
got where is it over? It's over here somewhere. I've got the Bruce Exploitation Game of Clones set. It's like 12 Bruce Exploitation movies.
oh, okay.
And this is one that I sat on for the longest time because it is expensive. This was, I don't even know how much. It was more than I was willing to pay. Especially for movies that I've never seen. I don't know if I'm going to like them. And then, yeah, I had like gift cards, and then like it was also on sale because it was the holidays. And like that's when I finally pulled the trigger on it. Was like, now I can buy it because it's not coming from my own money.
Exactly. I mean, they just came out. I think it just released, or maybe it's releasing soon. The Shaw Scope 4 from
Yeah, it's
Arrow,
out.
right?
Yeah.
I was like, so my wife asked me, because I think it was last year, is around when Volume 3 came out. She got it for me for Christmas, and then I was like, oh, Volume 4 is coming out, and she was like, would you like me to get that for you for Christmas? And I was like, honestly, no, because every year we get these for like $150. And then by the next year, they're like $80. Like, why would I just like buy them for double the price just to have it sooner? When, again, like I've got 3 sets of those like Shaw Brothers from Shout Factory to watch, and I've got a bunch of these to watch, and I've got almost all of the Dragon Dynasty collection that I'm like working through. I was like, I got plenty. I don't need another one for now, especially while I don't even have my shelves up.
I would pull the trigger probably already on that Volume 4, but it's mostly like Shaw Brothers horror.
Yeah,
And
it's
there's
like a
little
weird mix.
bit of action in it. There's a little bit of action. I know it has Super Inframan, which was like Shaw Brothers' attempt at tokusatsu, at Power Rangers, pretty much.
Right.
But most of it's horror, and that's just where I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to get that.
Have you done any like Shaw Brothers like horror? Like, have you seen like Human Lanterns?
I
Or
haven't
have you
seen Human Lanterns yet. I know I need to, and it's I don't know. I don't really mind a lot of Shaw horror, kung fu horror. Of course, I've seen like I don't know. I think it's called like Black Lizard or something. One of the ones that's on the Shaw Brothers set, Boxer's Omen. Of course, like your
Yeah.
Mr. Vampires and your Seventh Curse and Encounters of the Spooky Kind, all that stuff. Enjoyed a lot of that stuff. Didn't care for Boxer's Omen very much.
That one's just like trippy. It's
Yeah,
like
it's
horror,
weird.
but also just like this movie's really bizarre.
So
Is that the
it's-
one that
it's-
has the giant slamming thing that they're throwing babies in? That's
Seventh Curse.
Heroic Trio. Is it
that
Heroic
also
Trio? Or
that's probably also that too because the skeleton wraps around Michelle Yeoh. There
Uh-huh.
are I don't know, they do sacrifice children in the Seventh Curse.
yeah. I watched them like relatively close to each other. I think they all, but I remember I was watching Heroic Trio with my daughter, who
Yeah.
was 6 at the time.
Probably not great.
Yeah, not great. And she was super locked in. She loved it. And I had to like read the subtitles out loud to her, but she was loving it. And then they started like sacrificing babies, and I was like, "Don't tell your mom. Don't tell your mom." But yeah, I really enjoy that stuff. Heroic Trio, I love. That's a great movie. But so yeah, I really love the '70s stuff. Really love a lot of Hong Kong. I'm a huge like John Woo fan. So like for Christmas, like my wife got me like The Killer on 4K, Hard Boiled.
Yeah, I need to
I
get
bought,
those.
I like pre-ordered Hard Boiled. That's after Die Hard. That's my favorite action movie of all time. Is Hard Boiled. But anyway, yeah, man, I love that. And at one point I was like, man, what if I like kind of angled my account towards like Hong Kong movies, action movies, kung fu movies, and then you came on the scene and I was like, no, he's got a cover, man. He's good.
I've only been on the TikTok scene for I don't know 3.5 years. I don't even know how long anymore. I've been doing it on YouTube since 2017.
Yeah, when you showed up, I was like, this guy's got it established.
Yeah,
So that's why I was like, oh, I'm pulled back. I'm
Well,
good.
and even then like on YouTube, there's like a lot of us now. I truly don't know if I was like one of the first or like maybe the very first, but like I only started doing it because nobody was.
Yeah.
Like I
No
was
one,
watching.
no one was hitting this space like until you showed up.
I was watching your Chris Stuckmans, your Jeremy Johns, all those people, whatever, and just nobody was talking. I think the big one that broke me was Ip Man 3 had just come out, and like just nobody was talking about it, and I love that movie. And so I was like, all right, if no one's gonna do it, I will do it. And so it's been like since like 2017.
That's dope, dude. I love that. It's cool to come in on a space where no one's, because a lot of us have come in with like, oh, no one, like I want to share my opinion on this thing that everyone's talking about, and like we're just adding our voice to like a larger soup. But you're like, nah, dude, I got my own soup. Like,
Yeah.
no one's eating the soup, so I got my own soup, and I think it's awesome.
So you've got a pretty good wide scope of some experience there, just based on that. Like, what is like the general image in your head when you can think of like kung fu movies, and this one image pops in your head? What's that?
When I think of kung fu movies, I think of Gordon Liu, just period. Like, to me, he is like the he's everything that I envision in kung fu. And like some of my favorite, like obviously, the Chambers movies, and then, but like all of my favorite kung fu movies, like he's in Heroes of the East.
Yeah.
I know you and I have talked about that movie a little bit. I love Dirty Ha. I love that movie, and I think that he's brilliant as like he's playing like. You've seen Dirty Ha, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, where like he's playing like he's like this like Joker dude, but really he's like the master. But what is Eight Diagram Pole Fighter is like to me that I think
maybe my number one movie.
To me that's like the gold standard of kung fu movies. To me, when I think of a kung fu movie, I think about him in that final battle. Like it's like perfect. It's perfect. And so when I think kung fu, like I just imagine him. Put him in any movie, that's what I picture.
Yeah. There's a line of dialogue in the Eight Diagram Pole Fighter that drives me insane with happiness and excitement. And it's that like when they're training in the monastery, in the temple, they're training with the wolf dummies, and they're training to like break their teeth out because they're not trying to kill them. They just want to drive them away and take away their weapons, take away what makes them dangerous. And when the abbot says like, we're not helping you on this. This is not our job. We're not our job. We're not killing anybody. We're not doing none of that. So when they do eventually show up in the end to help, Gordon Liu says, "Master, you said that you don't kill," or whatever. Or he says something along those lines. And the abbot says, "We're just driving away wolves."
That's the best, dude.
And I was like, I seriously, like, I was sitting there watching it, and I sat up and was like, that's the best thing I've ever heard.
It's so perfect, like, for them to be like, no, we actually have to fight. Like, oh, dude, it's awesome. It's so good. It's like my favorite climax of a kung fu movie, man. It's so good.
So on your back just a little bit to Avatar, with your journey through Avatar, did any of the kung fu stand out in that?
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned it, and then you had stitched my my
like
video.
Episode 1.
Yeah, I think it might have been the first like Agni Kai or something, and where I was like, "Oh, dude, I was like mentioning like Tiger Style or something like that. I was like Crane Fist or I don't know, and then you mentioned the different styles of kung fu that are, or at least martial arts that are the influences of the different nations and the way that they fight, which I thought it was just like really, really cool. But yeah, you can tell that like each kind of like style of bending has its own style of fighting associated with it. And as someone who watches from like multiple different regions, I don't branch out as much out of Hong Kong as much as like I should, which is why we're talking about Born to Fight. But so like I see the differences between like Muay Thai and and Shaolin Kung Fu, or between whatever they're doing in the raid. I don't even know what that's called. It's just like insane fist. Yeah, like I don't know what the differences are, but I can like spot some of the kind of signifiers or like little differences. Like there's way more knees like in Muay Thai. you
Hmm.
know, like than there are in anything else.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of so like yeah, and I kind of noticed the differences, but I wasn't able to like attach them to anything specific like you
Hmm.
were.
So my nerd brain started forming early with it
Uh-huh.
because as a tiny child I was getting my ass kicked at Tekken by my older brothers. But so like Tekken and I guess more a lot of those fighting games, but really you really start to see it in Tekken. Is like all the different fighters who have the different styles. Eddie's doing capoeira. The Heihachis are doing some form of like Kyokushin. You got a Taekwondo fighter, a Northern Shaolin fighter, a this, a that. Bruce Irvin's coming in with Muay Thai. So like as a kid, I'm instantly just seeing all these fighters like, oh, what's he doing? What's he doing? What's he doing? What's he doing? So now and of course now watching all these movies, even watching like movies from like Cambodia or the Philippines, like they have their own styles. Like it's now my brain is just like molded to it.
Yeah.
It's fun.
It's really cool to see those differences and some of the similarities too. Like you see little ways in which, maybe at some point some Shaolin monk showed up in some other place and, taught a little bit of this over there. Like it's cool to see
Mm.
the differences and the similarities, but I love seeing how each of them kind of like show up in their own movies and
Yeah.
are almost kind of this like kind of like national pride almost
Mm. Yeah, yeah.
from each of those regions.
Yeah, I mean, I can just talk kung fu styles all day, but we got to jump into some movies. So let's go ahead and get into our first movie, the 1987 Golden Harvest classic, Eastern Condors.
Abbot, I want you to shave my head. If you refuse to help, I swear I'll burn this temple down.
怎可詛咒？應該相信世界裏頭會有我，還會有我，永遠在左右。怎可感慨？怎可追陪到這裏來？忘記説過，唯有這裏有使命等待。
Eastern
Boom, boom,
Condors.
boom, boom.
Hell yes, the best, but I might prefer it over the Shaw Brothers logo. I know you might think that's crazy.
Yeah, it's great.
Eastern Condors, directed by Sammo Hung, starring Sammo Hung, Yuan Bu, Corey Yuan, Yuan Wuping, Yuan Hua, and just a whole cast of some of the biggest comedic and action actors in Hong Kong in the 1980s. Eastern Condors follows a group of Chinese criminals serving time in U.S. prison. It turns out that when the United States got out of Vietnam, they left a whole bunker of weapons just sitting underground, and now the military must send in just our group of Chinese criminals into Vietnam so that they're not revealed that the U.S. is involved with it to destroy the weapons before they also fall into wrong hands. And when someone immediately dies upon landing, it just immediately makes you think, what is this? Some kind of Suicide Squad? Brandon,
Yeah.
why did you choose Eastern Condors?
Okay. Few different reasons. They all stem back to you. So So first off, a few years ago, I was like, I haven't seen enough Sammo Hung movies. I watched Killzone, SPL, and I loved it. And it was the first movie I'd ever seen with Sammo Hung in it. And I was fully unprepared for the finale in that movie. I expected someone
didn't
much
expect that from a
slower.
big guy.
Dude, I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
like, holy shit, dude. So I was like, I need to see more of this guy. So I went into Letterboxd and I went to his like acting profile and I added a bunch of movies to it. So Eastern Condors was one of the movies that ended up on my watch list for Sammo Hung. And then I would say like this year is where I kind of started to like dig into more than like you saw. I watched Millionaires Express this year, and so I was like, okay, I'm working off of this shelf now. I've got 300 kung fu movies in the garage, but like this is what I got left.
Yeah.
And so I was like, all right, what am I gonna do? And we had planned to do this show together previously. We were gonna do what was
We
our
had Flashpoint and Invisible Target.
That's right. I got them both here on the shelf still, so maybe we do another episode sometime. But I was like, okay, all right, these are good. But then that like just didn't end up working out. I had way too many things going on at that point. So for Christmas on my list, you had been talking like nonstop for every Criterion Collection, Eastern Condors, Eastern Condors, Eastern Condors, and I was like, all right. I didn't know what to get at the newest Criterion sale. And so I put Eastern Condors on my list and I gave it to my wife. My wife goes to the Criterion Collection sale for me for Christmas every year. And I was like, here you go. So for Christmas, I got Eastern Condors and I was like, perfect. And then you hit me up again. You're like, dude, when's the show happening? And I was like, put me down for Eastern Condors, baby.
Yeah.
So it all came back from you because we were going to do the show before. It didn't work out, which gave enough time for me to take your constant recommendation for this movie, constant, and then have my wife get it for me, and then have it in time for you to hit me back up and be like, dude, what are we doing? So yeah, that's why I picked it, and I loved it.
Yeah. So for those watching who are not on TikTok and not in the Film Talk community, especially around the Criterion sale time of season, last Criterion sale and maybe even the one before that, I maybe made 2 videos telling people to go buy Eastern Condors. And I think one of them was that every video I saw, people were saying, I picked up Sorcerer. Everyone's been talking about Sorcerer. I picked up Sorcerer. Everyone's getting up Sorcerer. I got Sorcerer. So I just made a video that was like, I don't care if this movie's great. What people need to go buy is Eastern Condors. Every single video I saw, which around the time in the Film Talk community of the Criterion sale is every third swipe is a Criterion Hall video. Every single one I commented, but you don't have Eastern Condors. And I'll tell you this, the reputation, or what I did, built a reputation I had on TikTok of the guy who recommends Eastern Condors. That followed me over to other social medias because I'm in a physical media group on Facebook and somebody posted a Criterion Hall. So I just said, screw it. I commented on it. But where's Eastern Condors? That dude replied to me and said, are you that guy on TikTok who keeps recommending Eastern Condors?
That's awesome.
I was like, you're god dang right I am.
Yeah, the first time that you mentioned it, like, you know how there's like kind of like 2 sales towards the end of the year. I think there's like one in September, one in November. And it was the September one that you mentioned it. And I would have gotten it had I not already got Sorcerer. I was like,
Sorcerer was the big one.
All right, well, that's one of my favorite movies. Have you seen Sorcerer?
Never seen it.
Oh, dude, you should watch it. Oh, it's so good. That's one that I've been waiting to come to the Criterion Collection. So when it came out, I was like, I gotta get this thing. But after that, I was like, all right, next one, Eastern Condors is top of my list.
No, and like when it comes to like the Criterion Collection, like everyone, I think the only kung fu movies people will reference in the Criterion Collection is the Bruce Lee set and the Police Story set.
The Jackie Chan's. Oh yeah,
and the Jackie Chan. I don't care for the Jackie Chan set. I think it's like 7 movies and like 3 of them are good.
It's a bunch of like weird ones because they don't have the rights to any of the good ones.
The fact that Criterion was like, here's Fearless Hyena 2. It's like you really picked the bottom of the barrel there.
Like that's the one you went with. I do have the Police Story set that they have though. Yeah. Which is very good.
Every other, I would debate on getting the Jackie Chan set of whatever, the most random assortment of Jackie Chan movies, if I just didn't already have all those movies individually back here, other than Fearless Hyena 2. I don't want that.
Who is it that put out the Project A set? Was that like...
that was 88 Films.
Okay. 88. Yeah.
That one right there?
Yes, I almost bought that recently.
So you saying that your first Sammo Hung movie was SPL. I want to say Project A, and this is why I define this as the perfect gateway movie. This was my introduction to Sammo Hung, to Yuen Bu. Like, Jackie Chan is the gateway actor.
Perfect.
So, like, him being, part of the 3 Dragons with Sammo and Yuen, I had this in an 8 movie pack that I got from Walmart that I still have to this day, and Project A was in that, and I watched it, and it was amazing for my 13.
Wait, that 8 film Jackie Chan, like, that has like 4 DVDs or something like that on it?
Yes, from like
I
it's
had
like
that
a
too.
Miramax box
Miramax,
set.
yeah.
Yeah.
I got that too.
I found that when I was like 12 or 13, and it's comparing it to the Criterion box set of those 7 different movies. That little Miramax 8 movie set is an incredible bunch of movies, especially
Dude, it's
when I
so
was a
good.
12 or 13-year-old boy.
You got Project A, you got Armor of God in there, you got
Project
all
A
sorts of
1
stuff.
and 2, Armor of God 1 and 2, Dragon Lord, which is freaking phenomenal.
Yeah,
Super
dude,
Cop, Accidental Spy.
the stuff in there is fantastic. Like you said, Gateway. I think just in general, and I think this is what you were getting at anyway, but like in general, I think Jackie Chan is the greatest action star of all time, and I think that the best gateway to get into that is like some of those movies. I think for most people, it's probably like, Rush Hour, and then
Of course, yeah.
like Shanghai
so, like,
Noon or Shanghai Nights or something.
Yeah,
but-
I mean, even as a kid, my first Jackie Chan movie was Rush Hour 2.
yeah.
And then, of course,
'Cause
the
like,
medallion and tuxedo.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's like, hey, did you know that there's like even sicker movies?
Yeah, pretty much.
From Hong
That's
Kong.
pretty
that he
much
was
how
in.
it goes.
Yeah.
Like, as a kid in America, you're probably going to watch the American stuff first, and then you're like, oh, well, he also has all the stuff from Hong Kong that's even better.
Yeah, my first one from Hong Kong I saw was Police Story 1. And I was like,
yeah.
dude, what have I been missing out on? This is incredible. When he did the pole thing, the very famous pole stunt, I was like, dude, this man was on a mission to kill himself for the coolest action stunt ever.
My first one was probably Drunken Master 2, Legend of Drunken Master, because
That's
played,
my favorite Jackie Chan movie.
It's up there probably in my top 3, but it played on G4 all the time.
Yeah.
So I watched it on G4 a lot.
That's right. Oh, I think, did we talk about this? Because
Probably.
we were talking about Attack of the Show or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. That sounds right.
I think so. But yeah, that movie was on G4 all the time. As a former G4 head myself, that was on a lot.
Do you have so of course the SPL being your first Sammo Hung movie? Have you watched any other Sammo Hung stuff? Any other experience with Sammo Hung?
Like I said, Millionaire's Express is the one that like comes to mind, and then of course I got logged out of my letterbox like right as we were starting this, so I'm just like double checking to see what else.
Any like Magnificent Butchers? Any other Three Dragons film?
No, so a bunch of like the dragon stuff. I watched it's like obviously like Ip Man 2. I saw Twilight of the Warriors last year, which I really enjoyed.
Old Man Sammo still getting it.
Yeah, I'm trying to see.
I don't
if there's
recommend his movie The
anything else.
Bodyguard. Can't recommend that one.
No. But like Magnificent Butcher, I think is one that is on that I need to watch.
That one's.
but-
I mean, are you on Criterion Channel?
I am, yeah.
Yeah, there's like a good bunch of them on there. Like I've never seen Pedicab Driver, and I watched it last year while sitting in the DMV, waiting to get my driver's license renewed. And yeah, I was on Criterion Channel. I saw it was on there, and that's like the first time I watched that. So like they have Pedicab Driver, which is phenomenal. It peaks a little bit too early, but that peak is incredible. They have Encounters of the Spooky Kind on there. That Magnificent Butcher.
That's one I've been wanting to watch. Is Encounters of the Spooky Kind. It's been on my watch list for probably the longest that I haven't seen of Sammo Hung stuff, and I know that's on Criterion right now. So I'll have to get to that one.
Yeah.
The tricky thing about his filmography too is that he does a lot of like background stuff. I feel like he kind of like pops up in like smaller roles in a lot of movies.
Well, he was produced a lot of stuff too. So almost anything he produced, he was just like, yeah, I'll pop in for a minute.
Yeah, and so like if you go to his acting credits, there's tons, and like he'll be at the very bottom as like a guy in the background.
Yeah, so like this movie has there's the 3 guerrilla fighters who are the 3 women. Mm-hmm. The main woman, the one who gets her hand cut off, is Joyce Godenzi. Mm-hmm. I think this might have been how they met, but they got married and to this day are still married.
Oh, really?
She made a movie called She Shoots Straight, which I highly recommend. It's very, very good. But again, he produced that as well, and then he pops in for a cameo in that. So like that's one where it's like it's going to be in his credits, but he's there for a minute.
Exactly. Yeah, there's tons of those. So, but no, I like again an actor that I really want to see more of. So another reason why I was like Eastern Condors, like let's do it.
Yeah. So of course, we talked about me hyping this movie up enough to build a reputation about with the guy who hypes up Eastern Condors. With me hyping this movie up as much as I did over 2025, what were your expectations going in?
I was expecting, I would say like I think my expectations were right where they should be. Where I was like, this is going to be a movie that is really fun, has great action, and is going to be like really entertaining. And it hit all three. It's really fun. It's really interesting. I did not expect how brutal it would get in some sequences.
Yeah. The hand stuff, like when I talked about her like getting her hand cut off, the part where like the guy's like stepping on the nub, like that, like it's like brutal.
The one that got me was when he's like trying to split the dude's shoulder blades apart. Mm-hmm. Where he like reaches in and grabs him, starts pulling his shoulder blades out. That looked like the most painful thing ever. I was like,
the one I remember getting me the first time I watched it, and I still think it doesn't look gruesome, but it's how he moves his body and how rapid and powerful it happens. Is Lam Ching Ying, the captain, who he's already gotten shot like 3 or 4 times, and then a guy who the character played by Dick Way holds a gun up to him, and he just grabs it and immediately and the way he grabs it fires, and the way he just drops. The first time I saw that, I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, and what's interesting is like the way that scene is kind of builds. You almost don't think he's going to pull the trigger. Like him grabbing that barrel feels like such a power move, even though he's already been shot multiple times. Yeah. So it kind of feels like he's kind of like daring him to shoot, and you almost don't expect it, even though like, and then he just shoots him, and you're like, oh shit, and then like you said, he just drops.
Yeah. So you've seen Millionaires Express, which also features Yuen Bu in that. What did you think of Samo and Yuen Bu in this one?
It took me a second to get into Yuen Bu's performance, I think, as Rat here. Like sometimes I have a hard the like emo haircut and the earring. Sometimes I have a problem latching onto the characters who like play the fool character. Like gosh, he's in this movie and I never remember his name. He is in Mad Monkey Kung Fu. He is in.
He like gets shot just like waiting like at the elevator part at the end.
Yeah, he's also in Return to the 36th Chamber.
He's like crazy acrobatic, and he doesn't have a single fight scene in this movie.
And he always plays these like kind of like really silly characters. That's like kind of what I was getting from Yuen Bu's performance like early on. Then there's like kind of like the twist that like his uncle or grandpa or dad or whatever like isn't actually crazy and all that stuff, and like everyone kind of like clicks into place. Loved him. I've been a fan of his since I saw there's 2 titles for it and I'm forgetting both of them. He's the one where he's the lawyer. He's a lawyer. And gosh, do I have it on the shelf?
Are you talking about Yuen Bu or the uncle?
Yuen Bu.
Oh, okay. Dragons Forever?
No.
He's not a lawyer in that one. Jackie Chan.
And it's him and Rothrock in the movie together.
Oh, yes. Righting Wrongs.
Yes. I love him in that movie. I love Righting Wrongs. So when he showed up, I was like, oh, sick, dude. Yeah, really enjoyed him. And again, once he like clicks in like, kind of in the second act, I was like, I really like the chemistry between those 2 characters.
Yeah.
That carries on through the end of the movie. I think rewatching it now, knowing where that character's trajectory is going to go, I'll probably enjoy it a lot better too.
What are some moments throughout the movie that really stuck out to you there?
Let's see. One was I loved the scene when Sammo Hung's character he's like shooting the leaves and he's like shooting the dudes in the neck with the leaves. Just like very I'm sure that that's something that people do for fun,
Yeah.
like kid games, like, oh, take this, like people used to take like blades of grass and you stick them in your hand and you blow in them, like doing that kind of thing with these leaves. But the way they did them and they're like going through people's necks, I thought that was really fun. I loved the bridge scene where they're trying to like take the guns on the bridge. I loved how this movie like works really well as like a really solid Vietnam War movie.
Yeah.
That, we talk about Apocalypse Now and The Deer Hunter and prisoners of war or casualties of war, and there's all these like really high profile like big Vietnam War movies. This belongs in that like echelon of Vietnam
Gone,
War
that's a good
movies. Yeah, like there's tons of great Vietnam movies, and I think Eastern Condors belongs in the conversation. Not only does it have like really great martial arts, but it's like a really intense, thrilling
There's
Vietnam
a deer
movie.
hunter scene in this with the kids, like
Dude,
shooting prisoners.
yeah, and of course it gets like darkly comedic a couple of times, like even in that scene, them being in like the water prison underground. I really liked the introduction of those three Cambodian guerrilla fighters. I thought that was like a great way to kind of like add an extra layer of kind of like character interaction. That if it was just those 12 guys, that's kind of like Dirty Dozen going into Vietnam, I think that would have already been interesting. By adding those three women, you now add like an extra layer. There's kind of the one guy who's like trying to hit on them. Not just one guy, but like, multiple of these guys are like trying to like make moves at them. And then you find out that one of them is a spy. That threw me. I loved that.
And her death is like, talking about brutal deaths like that. And that's like, it's not even just brutal in like how it happens, but like the actual like the actual importance of like what's happening between the characters in that moment. Like the one who ends up shooting her, like she looks back at her for a second and she's like, "Don't look at me. I don't want to see your face when I kill you." And you think she's going to hesitate for a moment. Yeah, you think she's going to hesitate, but she doesn't. As soon as she turns her head back around, boom.
Boom. And all that blood splatter on the other girl's face.
Yeah.
Probably the biggest jaw drop moment. Again, akin to that, like pulling the barrel to his head scene. You're kind of like, the way that this scene is building, you're expecting more of like, don't look at me, turn around, and then kind of like a little bit more conflict. She's like, nah, dude, just shoot her right in the head.
Yeah. And random note I have on here, talking about those three characters, their introduction right at the very beginning of the movie, they take out a couple Vietnamese soldiers. Somebody gets stabbed right in the butthole.
Yes. Okay. I wanted to mention this.
Yeah. As me and my friends called it in high school, he got Gaddafi'd.
Yeah. So like they're kicking these dudes around, and then one guy kind of like rolls up on his like back shoulders, and then his like legs flip over his. Yeah. And it's just you just see his like ass in the air, and then she just takes a knife and just slams it right in the middle. Just sodomizes this man with a knife.
Yeah. And that's like how that scene ends. That's like the final like.
Yeah, she like pulls a knife out, and then the guy's just like laying there dead. I'm like, damn, I didn't know that was a kill move, but that's pretty intense.
Yeah. Any other major moments? So you bring up the bridge. I wanted to bring this up with you because I've seen you on Goodwill Podcasting.
Mm-hmm.
You and in your recent, I think you did a recent video of like your 5-star, like non-negotiable 5-star movies.
Yeah.
You love The Matrix.
I love The Matrix. I love all of The Matrix.
And the man I believe responsible for making The Matrix as truly great as it is in this movie.
Mm-hmm. Yuan Wu Ping.
Yeah.
I love
how'd you feel about his presentation and his death, how he goes out?
I love that he's in this movie. Period. Because like in the same way that so my favorite director out of Hong Kong, I would say, might be Lau Kar Long. Mm-hmm. And so some of those, whenever he's like on screen and gets the opportunity, because you know he's a director but also choreographer, and so when he gets the opportunity to like be on screen and have a role, I'm like, I love when these choreographers like get in and get to be on there and get to have that opportunity. And so getting to watch him get that opportunity which I don't know if I've ever seen him on screen before.
Yeah, it doesn't happen super often. You see his brother more, which R.I.P. to his brother, just passed away about a week ago. And so like it really doesn't happen very often. Before he was a director and a fight choreographer. Of course, he was a stuntman, as they all are, and especially he was in Shaw Brothers movies. The two that I remember seeing him and like just knowing what his face looked like, as soon as I saw him as just like some henchman getting killed, I always like perk up and I'm like, there he is. Is in the David Chang movie Shaolin Mantis, and then there's like a big ensemble film called The Heroic Ones. That like both of those movies, I saw him as just like some henchman getting killed, but I was just like, "You Wu Bang!" There he is.
I think that he was because he plays the grandpa, or
They call him Grandpa. Yeah,
Grandpa.
He's
Yeah,
the oldest guy there.
My favorite like joke in the entire movie was when they're running on the bridge and he's like something about being 70 and someone's like, how the hell are you 70? Like that.
Yeah.
I laughed so hard at that. I thought that was so funny. But yeah, like him going out like on the guns and stuff, like great stuff.
Yeah. And the other guy that goes out with him is Corey Yuen, who he grew up with Jackie Samo and Yuen Bu, and even the villain in this movie. They all grew up together. He directed, you bring up Righting Wrongs, he directed Righting Wrongs. And then,
The Transporter.
The Transporter, DOA, Dead or Alive. Like he's as legendary a Hong Kong director as it gets, but then he's also directed DOA, Dead or Alive.
Yeah. I have not seen Dead or Alive. Is that one, I remember the video game.
It's not. Look, it's.
How much beach volleyball is in the movie? That's the real question.
None. But I want to tell you that the movie is terrible, and there's a confliction going on in my brain right now because I am not one who subscribes to so bad it's good. I don't really like watching so bad it's good. Like I can't watch The Room and tell you, oh my God, you're gonna have a good time. Like I'm gonna be miserable the whole time.
Oh, I'm the opposite. I'm like, a movie can't be so bad it's good. Like it's either good or it's bad. So like if it's so bad that it's good, it must be good.
Yeah, but I watch DOA Dead or Alive, and as much as it is not a good movie, I still will watch it and be like, it's pretty entertaining.
Sometimes they're like that, man.
It's just kind of entertaining. Maybe it's a bunch of bright colors and it's all flashing all at once. I don't know what's going on, but I enjoyed it. I liked looking at all the pretty lights.
Mm-hmm. Lights, indeed.
Yep, the lights. Headlights.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I liked him a lot too. Corey Yun's character. And the kind of like back and forth that he has with Yuen Ping's character. So for them to kind of like die together at the end of the movie, I thought was like pretty cool.
How did you feel about the villain in this one? Did you recognize him at all? Are
you talking about like the general,
the final bad guy with the glasses and the yeah?
I honestly was like, because he shows up kind of late, like he's not really around until the final line.
My one kind of gripe with the movie is like, the villain just kind of shows up.
Yeah, there's not like a big thing other than you can tell that he's clearly in charge of the bad guys because he's like got the general's outfit on. Mm-hmm. And one of those things where it's like, I recognize this guy, can't place him. But like, it's I just pulled it up because I remember I did end up looking it up at one point, how it's Yuen Wah, because I was like, how do I recognize this guy? But dude, he was so funny, like that hiccup thing that he does.
Yeah, and
genius.
He's the landlord in Kung Fu Hustle, and then the weird one I always bring up because it just made me happy to see him there is he's in Shang-Chi for a little bit.
Yeah, that's like his on Letterboxd. That's like his number one credit is Shang-Chi.
Which is dumb, but I accept it.
It's the way they do it, it's like based off of popularity.
The most popular, yeah.
You want to know something? For as much as I love Kung Fu movies, I've never seen Kung Fu Hustle. I started it twice. And I remember the first time I watched it, I was like high on pain meds because I had just had surgery. And I'm glad I didn't watch it because one movie that I did watch was The Last Airbender, and I don't remember anything. I didn't even remember that I watched it until my dad reminded me. And so if I had watched Kung Fu Hustle, I wouldn't have even remembered it. But then I watched it another time, and I was like, oh, I'm too tired, so I didn't watch it. But
Well, I'll
now
tell
I'm
you
like, I
one
gotta
thing
fish.
I'll tell you one thing to motivate you to watch Kung Fu Hustle, and that is that Sammo Hung directed the action in that. So like
Oh,
every
really?
fight scene, pretty much, like which and the fight scenes in the movie are phenomenal. Sammo Hung pretty much directed all the action in that.
Yeah, he's in here for stunts. Yun Wo Ping
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Sammo Hung, and a few other guys too. I don't know if I recognize these guys. Sammy Hung Tin Chiu, you know who that is?
The name's not ringing a big bell right now, but it
He
probably
only
is in
did
there somewhere
stunts
in my
for
brain.
one movie, and then he looks like he probably had like small, tiny roles in a bunch of other stuff. And
Sounds like
then
Hong Kong.
Liu Ming Che, who stunts for Ip Man and Seven Swords that I recognize, and Kung Fu Hustle. But anyway, yeah,
Let me
two
hit
like
you with
small guys, and then
a kung fu fun fact here.
yeah,
This is it's on the third episode we're doing this, but let's talk about a kung fu fun fact. Despite all the craziness of the action and the stunts in this movie, there are only two major. I'd say one is a major, one's a bit more of a minor injury that happened in this movie. Are you aware of the injuries in this or anything at all?
I know. I have to imagine there have been many. So to hear there are only two main ones is crazy.
Only two big ones. I'll start with the smaller one, and that was to Sammo Hung himself. Do you remember the scene where he jumps off the big hill and lands in the truck with the
In the
grenade?
truck, when you mentioned there were two injuries, this is the one stunt that I figured would be one of the two.
So Samo talked about it in an interview I watched, and it's kind of, it sounds so weird because obviously he's not going to land from that high up hill into the truck. The hill pretty slanted, but he essentially bounced off of they put a pad down there, and he lands on the pad, and his plan was like, I'm gonna do my best to land with my feet on the pad, and then I'm just gonna fall backwards onto the hill. It's fine.
Did he fall forward into the side of the
He
truck?
lands it. He lands with feet on the pad, and just like both knees go out.
Oh, ouch.
But so Samo said that he felt bad though because it was the next day was the last day they were shooting in the Philippines. So he was like, I knew the crew wanted to go home, all the stunt people, everybody was ready to go home, and I understand that because I've been the lower guy on set who was excited to go home. So if I'm injured, it means we now have to wait for me to heal and everyone has to stay in the Philippines. But they still had one day left of shooting. But the next day, all they had to do was shoot just like a walk and talk scene in the woods.
Mm-hmm.
So Samos, it was him walking next to Yuan Bu and they're walking and talking. And so in that scene, you only see them from like the chest up. And Yuan Bu is walking, but Sammo Hung is being pulled on a dolly pretty much. And he's like, I was being pulled and I just did this. I just made a walking motion with my shoulders. He's like, so I was like, I just did that because I thought we can just get the shot and I can send everybody home and everybody be happy. The other injury is the one I say is truly
one thing
the
that
major
I want
one.
to say, I love that's such a cool stunt and a testament to how important editing is.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
I never I thought that they actually had the pad in the truck. I thought that he was jumping into the truck because it's like so perfectly cut that like right as his feet are about to pass the truck or like touch
You see, he lands in it.
where you
Yeah,
truck,
yeah, yeah.
then they cut to him landing inside, and I was like, "Dang, that must have been a gnarly drop." And then to hear that he like actually got hurt is like the least shocking thing. But
Yeah.
I loved that stunt.
So there's the other one, which I will say is the truly major injury in this movie, is a pretty famous one. And it's actually a stuntman who played one of the characters in this. Do you remember the character who died taking a piss?
Yeah, where they're like, yeah.
He's like, stop playing around, and they get shot.
Yeah, and he's like pissing in the air and then gets
yeah.
shot in the chest.
So that actor, stuntman who died taking a piss is Chin Carlock, very famous stuntman. He's doubled Everybody Great. He's doubled Jackie several times. he was doing a stunt for this in the scene where they're in that like cabin off the water, and then like one of the boats start coming by and they get into a firefight there. The boat blows up, right? So Hong Kong was not the best with pyrotechnics.
Oh no.
They didn't have it down to an art, to a science yet.
Okay.
And so they blow up the boat 100% for real. They blew it up. And he just jumped a little bit too late, and he got pretty engulfed in the flames.
Oh.
And so he's like fully on fire, but he immediately lands in water.
Mm-hmm.
Despite being in water, his skin and everything is still extremely hot.
Yeah.
So he got burned there. And according to the story, is Sammo Hung then holds him underwater because he's like, you need to cool off. But from Chin Kar Lok's perspective, he's like, you're drowning me. And it was bad enough that when they pulled him up, like the top few layers of skin just completely
just like gloved right off.
Yeah. But Sammo Hung was like drowning him underwater trying to cool him off.
That's wild.
Not good. So, Kung Fu fun fact. 2 people got hurt, Sammo and that guy. But I think that guy got hurt worse.
Yeah, that sounds awful.
Yeah. You got any other standout moments or anything on this movie?
Let's see. I thought that it was I thought it was kind of okay. I thought that it was very interesting that from Sammo Hung's perspective, did he write this as well?
I believe so.
Because I don't know if he wrote it.
Might have been him and maybe somebody else.
Let's see. Barry Wong Ping Yu is the writer. Is he the cop in one of the cops in Hardboiled? I thought it was interesting. This kind of like, we have to go, like the U.S. makes a huge mistake, so who has to pay for it? Not Americans. We're going to send in someone else, someone that's expendable, right? And so they choose these like Chinese prisoners. And I thought that was like interesting that that's how a Chinese writer would view it. That's what the United States would do. They wouldn't send the U.S. They would send some of us.
Yeah.
I thought that was an intriguing setup. I really liked the opening of the movie with them on the plane, and it's like showing like what their crimes were and like why they're. I wish that they had kind of here's some of like my kind of like some things. I wish that they had played more with the idea of them being criminals. The idea of these guys having like a checkered past, and maybe like one of these guys was like a murderer or something, and
none of them are very sketchy.
Yeah, like they're all kind of like, some of them are like white collar criminals. Like it's like thievery and counterfeit. It's like, okay, but like if you had kind of someone who was like a lot more sketchy in the mix, and they're like worried about this guy, and they like stop him from hurting someone one night or something like an added layer of tension between this like group of criminals, and you kind of get that in something like we mentioned earlier, the Suicide Squad. As you were joking, what would be some kind of Suicide Squad? Like I don't remember anything about the first movie, other than I hated it. But in the second movie, like you have them like betraying each other and like backstabbing each other because they're criminals. And so I think that would have been like a fun second element to this. And you do get that, but it's not from any of them. It's from the one spy within the 3 Cambodian guerrillas. But I think that would have been like an intriguing like second layer that I think was just kind of like missed out on.
Yeah. No, it's kind of just characters complaining that they don't want to be there. I did enjoy sort of the final joke from the only other survivor that's not Sammo and Yuan. And they're sitting there, they've gone through all this stuff, they've fallen out of like 3 waterfalls escaping the base as it blew up. And he's sitting there and he's like, "Goddamn America, fucking America, stupid America, goddamn America." And they're like, "Well, where are you going after this?" "America."
Yeah.
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 No, and like you talk about how they, you know, the U.S. is saying like, well, we can't be involved in this, so we're going to send in these Chinese guys. They pretty much paint Americans also as incompetent from the very beginning, because like when the flag is being lowered, I think, and so they stop to salute it, and like it's the rope is caught, and they're
Yeah, it
sitting
gets,
there
like,
for like an
jammed.
awkward amount of time, and they're just like, just go, just drive.
It's just roll. And they
And so
come
like
back.
they have the meeting that sets up the whole premise of the movie, and as they're driving back, they're still messing with the rope. And like Lam Ching Ying is just like, I'll just climb up, fix it, and get it down. I'm like, why you guys are struggling too hard with this?
It's a clever like criticism of the United States military and their involvement in Vietnam in general, right? Which is like, you guys entered this conflict, you effed up, that you guys had to leave, and then now you're sending us in to go and clean up your mess because of
Yeah.
incompetence. And so like it's them cleverly saying like, this is the world's greatest military, can't even like properly raise and lower a flag, that we have to go and take care of all your stuff for you. I thought that
Right.
was like
Yeah, and yeah.
a clever jab.
A Chinese dude has to fix your flag for you.
Yeah, and your
now you're going to
mess.
send some Chinese people to clean for mess.
Yeah.
I've got a book here. This came out last year, the year before, called the New Essential Guide to Hong Kong Movies. It's a very interesting book. It's just sort of a bunch of, it's just a giant list of movies, giving the basic plot rundown and then sort of a synopsis, a review there. So I wanted to sort of read this review of Eastern Condors that's in this book. So it says, if Police Story is Jackie Chan's apex, then Eastern Condors is most definitely Sammo Hung's. With a cast featuring some of the top action stars of Hong Kong, it's unthinkable that this film project could fail. This movie bombed at the box office. The storyline is very reminiscent of The Dirty Dozen, and the skillful direction of Sammo Hung. The powerful music score and some of the best fight action to come out of Hong Kong makes this a firm favorite with film fans around the world. If there has to be one movie to introduce people to Hong Kong cinema, then this would be an excellent recommendation. Simply incredible. How do you feel about that review of Eastern Condors? You kind of agree with it?
I would say I agree with it on the most part. I think that I like the idea of this being a good kind of intro to Hong Kong movies, especially because you get to use. I find, as someone who recommends a lot of international movies, you have to find a way to like tee up an American to watch something that's not in English. You have to find like some kind of like connection that they'll care about. And I think having like, hey, this movie's about the Vietnam War, but it also is a bunch of like Chinese dudes who are doing a bunch of like great action scenes. And so like, I would agree. I think that's like I like that way to view it. I'm like, did this fail at the U.S. box office? Or
No, so like the actual like Hong Kong box office is pretty
wow.
bombed.
So do you think that why do you think that is?
It's hard to say. Maybe I think that maybe, and I don't know anything about geopolitics, especially in the 1980s. Perhaps Hong Kong just didn't really want to hear a Vietnam story in the 80s. I'm not fully aware of the Hong Kong involvement or relationship between the two countries around that time, but I guess maybe, you know, that 1980 Hong Kong audience, first of all, it's probably a massive saturation of action at that time. But they would they saw Vietnam and they're like, I don't think we need a Vietnam story right now.
I think you might be right. I think it's like, we're not like, that wasn't our war, so like, what do we care? You know, I think that probably plays into it. I do think that there's probably, to some extent, a kind of, I don't want to say like anti-US, because I don't think that that's what it is, but like not really needing like US like a US, because it's not a US movie, but like
A U.S.
Vietnam
conflict.
War, U.S. conflict. Like, why would we care about this, even if it is Sammo Hung and like a bunch of these like kung fu greats? I just think that there's probably like less of an interest for that. I think you're probably spot on.
Yeah, I think so. Do you have any final thoughts before we move on to our next movie?
No, dude, you were right. That's my final thought. You were right. If you haven't
Yeah.
seen Eastern Condors, you should watch the movie. It's awesome.
Do like I've been saying to do on TikTok for the past year and go watch Eastern. I mean, honestly, if you're on this channel, you've probably seen Eastern Condors. Let's go ahead and get into our second movie, the 2004 film from Thailand, Born to Fight.
My tiger kung fu is better than yours.
Born to Fight, directed by Panaridikrai, starring Dan Chupong and a whole lot of other people, but honestly, the one major name that you should probably watch this for is Dan Chupong. Born to Fight sees Dan Chupong playing a cop whose name I cannot pronounce. His sister is a Taekwondo competitor on the Thai national team. Chupong, his sister, and several other members of the Thai national team are doing a charity event at a small village, everything being wholesome and peaceful, before a militia of armed terrorists invade the village, killing several people and holding the rest hostage. It is up to a cop, a Taekwondo fighter, a soccer player, a gymnast, and the rest of these athletes to save the day. I chose this because... probably a few reasons. It kind of felt in my mind that it had like this similar vibe of this like ragtag bunch of people taking on a small army there, and then also it's just a crazy stunt show, you know.
Dude, it really is. So much so that I almost forgot it. I forgot at one point that these were all like a bunch of essentially like Olympic hopefuls. And so when the gymnast started doing like gymnastics tricks to like dodge explosions, I was like, wow, they must have gotten a gymnast to be the stunt person.
Yeah.
And then he like did a parallel bars stunt, and I was like, oh yeah, these guys are all like athletes.
Yeah, there's like the soccer players just kicking balls at people. There's a rugby player who's just tackling a guy through a wall.
Oh yeah, dude, like okay, this movie is a lot of fun. Like I really enjoyed it. It's a little bit slow on the. Okay, I don't want to say it because that's not exactly true. The first like 15 minutes is sick. Like the drug deal
the first 15
thing.
minutes it's just a bunch of stunts on moving trucks.
Yeah, and it's crazy. You watch a man almost get his head run over by
100%.
a semi truck. That guy falls down. And I was like, oh my gosh,
He missed by like 3 inches.
barely almost got his head crushed. But yeah, the stunts in the opening sequence are just fantastic. And then like he comes home from that like drug bust thing, the opening sequence, and then I feel like the movie like really slows down when there's kind of like I'm coming home from Taekwondo and I'm going on this charity thing and I'm gonna go with you. Like that whole thing is a little bit like okay. And then even once they get there and they're like handing out toys to people, by the end I see the value in those sequences of like building things up. I wish that, and maybe I'm forgetting these, I wish that we had gotten maybe a little bit more of a like setup with the terrorists. So the movie that this really reminded me of is Die Hard. It has like a very kind of like Die Hard setup, right? Terrorist attack, like a group of people who are like kind of doing like a very specific thing that puts them at a disadvantageous position to defend themselves. And then you have a cop, who is like kind of in the group but kind of not, which helps him escape from the group. And then he's silently taking out his own people before he teams up with someone else who helps him out. And so what Die Hard really benefits from, to break up the like Christmas party stuff in the beginning of the movie, is showing Hans Gruber and his men setting things up. And I think that I would have liked to have seen that with the terrorists at the beginning of this movie, where like instead of just being like shocked that all of a sudden people are getting blown away
even
by
like
terrorists.
With Die Hard, you get more interaction between like hostages and terrorists, like the Hans Gruber bringing in Nakatomi into the room, and before shooting him, the cokehead whose name I can't think of,
Ellis,
trying to bargain
yeah.
and stuff. Yeah, Ellis trying to bargain. Like, you get more interactions with that. You don't get like any of that here.
Yeah. And but damn, dude, this movie has moments where it just like cranks things up to 11 out of nowhere, and I love that.
Is this your first experience with Thai action?
No, I mean I've seen Ong Bak.
Good.
So like I'm not a virgin.
That's pretty much like the proper first, like as much as you say like, oh, Jackie Chan's like the introduction to this, or Project A is the proper introduction to Thai movies is Ong Bak.
Yeah, and on my DVD of Ong Bak, I had a buddy over a couple years ago. We watched Ong Bak, and this was on, I believe, which set was this? I can't remember who put out the DVD, the Blu-ray that we watched, but it had a trailer for Dragon Dynasty of the release of The Protector and of Born to Fight. So I had seen the trailer for this, and I was like, that movie looks awesome. Like, I need to see that movie. And because I had seen the two, I have had The Protector and Born to Fight like mixed in my brain for forever. So like finally getting to watch this, I was like,
have you seen The Protector?
Awesome. I haven't.
Oh, that's like
I think I've got it on here.
That's like the first two major, like, because they're both Tony Jaa movies, of course, but like the first two Thai movies any martial arts fan sees is like, well, first I saw Ong Bak and then I saw The Protector. I'm like, yeah, I know you do. I'm fully. There's a great. I remember being up late one night. I was like 13 or something, and Robot Chicken was on. And for their 100th episode or something, like the mascot, the Robot Chicken. I instantly clocked it, and I remember like I was laying in bed watching it, and I sat up because I knew what the fuck was happening. And the Robot Chicken burst through this set of doors, and we get a stop motion oneer of the Robot Chicken going up this spiral staircase and fighting all these characters who have popped up in previous Robot Chicken sketches. And immediately I'm like, they're doing The Protector. And then the nerd from Robot Chicken, the glasses and the slick back hair and everything, the nerd pops up and he goes, "Somebody saw Tony Jaa as The Protector." And I was just like, I've never felt like something on TV was made, a joke was made just for me.
Just for you.
Like, I was like, I've seen Tony Jaa as The Protector. It was so, yeah, so like that's like the big two that people see.
That's the elephant movie, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Somebody
yeah.
stole his elephant.
Every time that like someone's trying to like figure out the difference between Ong Bak and The Protector, they go, which one's the elephant movie? And it's The Protector.
Yeah. Don't see The Protector 2. That's bad. RZA is not good in that movie.
Yeah, that's right. I think I have it, but I just have not watched it. Isn't Tony Jaa also in SPL 2?
Yes. I don't love that movie. I think there are good highlights. There is a really good close quarters fight scene between him and Wu Jing that I really, really like. But it's worth watching.
Is that one produced out of Hong Kong?
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah, Tony Jaa like stepped out of Thailand. So the Thai action industry really blew up with Ong Bak, and that's 2003. And all throughout the early 2000s, you have Ong Bak 2, which is I prefer Ong Bak 2 over Ong Bak 1. I love.
I remember. I think you made a video about that or mentioned that.
Yeah. The Protector.
How's Ong Bak 3? I have
Knockout.
the trilogy like set. I've not seen Ong Bak 3.
I think Ong Bak is a classic for a reason, and I think Ong Bak 2 is better. I prefer Ong Bak 2, and then I think the trilogy ends with a bit of a dud.
Oh no!
Like
that's why no one talks about Ong Bak 3.
The opening is really cool, and then I don't think the rest of the movie holds up very well. Dan Chupong actually is in the lead in this movie is actually in Ong Bak 2 and 3 as like one of the bad guys.
Oh really?
So we get Dan Chupong versus Tony Jaa, which is a fun idea. But so like you get Jija Yanin pops up in Thailand, so she has Raging Phoenix and Chocolate, which a lot of people freaking love Chocolate. I prefer Raging Phoenix myself. But BKO, Bangkok Knockout, this movie, Dynamite Warrior, which is also a Dan Chupong movie. So all through the early 2000s, or like through the 2000s and early 2010s, Thailand
kind
is
of like
on fire. It's like booming. And then the guy who directed this movie, Panaridikrai, who was like all these people's mentor, he died in 2014. And then, so when he dies, like the Hong Kong action industry just sort of peters out.
The Thai or Hong Kong?
Sorry, Thai.
Oh, okay. I was
So
like, whoa,
Tony-
the ripple effect is crazy.
Yeah. So that's why Tony ends up, you see him popping up more in Hollywood movies. You see him popping up in more Hong Kong and Chinese films. Just because like there's not really, I think maybe the Thai TV action is doing some decent stuff. I haven't really seen a lot of it, but from what I hear, that's what's more going on over there. But yeah, there's not a lot going on in terms of their action films these days.
Yeah. One thing that also stood out to me in Born to Fight was some of the camera work I really liked. I never mentioned this shot from Eastern Condors that I loved, where he pulls out the machete, and the camera like zooms out with the machete. Like, I don't know how else to describe it, but I don't know if you know what shot I'm talking about, but like the camera does this really cool kind of like backup thing that I thought was really sick, and I went, ooh. But there's a lot of like really, really strong, I think, like camera movement that I noticed in this movie, where like you can tell this is like well choreographed, well blocked, well timed. It's like there's a shot that I loved where, because there's like the second guy, the guy who is like in love with the girl in the village. I can't remember his name. I can't remember anyone's name in this movie.
Yeah, like Tug or something like that.
Yeah. Tug. Yeah, Tub. Like Tub is like hiding outside like a little house or something, and then he like crawls out from under something, and then he kind of like looks around the corner, and then he like backs up, and then that's when, what's the main kid's name? Like Hua or Hua? I hate to do this. Yeah.
I looked at his name, and that's why I just put in my notes. I was like, the guy whose name I can't pronounce.
It's like, yeah, don't try. So yeah, he like basically like tackles a guy through the wall, and you don't Lorfei, is that right? No. Lorfei, yeah, no, that's not right.
You talking about Dan Chupong's character?
Diao, that's what it was.
Okay, yeah.
It's Diao, and he tackles a dude like through a wall, and like they both fall like right behind him, and then he like knocks that guy out, and he stands up, and then the two of them like move forward, but like the blocking and the camera movement is like so fluid, and it's the whole thing's done in like one shot, and it's not like a oneer, and it's not some big long take, but just the skill of like moving over, panning down, panning back up, panning, like bringing the camera forward, pulling back out, boom, these guys fall out through the wall, panning down, panning up, like it's so well, and you're like, damn, that's good, that's really good stuff.
No, Panaridikrai was a fantastic filmmaker. So he was back in the 80s. He was an action actor, and so but he's Tony Jaa's mentor. Like he trains all those guys. This movie is really by name only a remake. The original Born to Fight was directed by and starred Panaridikrai, and it came out in like 1986. I love it. It's the fight scenes are so smooth. Panaridikrai was a stunning performer. He's a good director even back then. A lot of the techniques you see both in martial arts and camera work that you see in Ong Bak, he did back in the original Born to Fight. Like when I watched Born to Fight, I immediately recognized like several stunts, the camera work, everything. I was like, oh, he did Ong Bak 20 years before Ong Bak, and just nobody saw it.
Oh yeah, here it is. It's literally called Born to Fight.
Yeah. So, but this movie is a remake, really in name only, because they have nothing in common.
Okay.
And they even said that in an interview. He was like, I did the original Born to Fight on a nothing budget, and now we have the money to do something bigger.
That's cool.
So he was just like, I just have more money, and I'm just gonna do it again, but bigger. But yeah, he's a fantastic director.
Yeah. I'm looking at his. So he did Ong Bak 2 and 3.
BKO Bangkok Knockout.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's a crazy one. That's a good one.
He's got some good stuff on here. Vengeance Assassin.
That's like the last big one before he passed away. Yeah.
Yeah, and then it looks like kind of like a lot of like small, tiny budget stuff. But nice, dude. I need to watch some of these. Ghost
he's got some
War.
great stuff. There's such a crazy difference between what we get at the beginning and I'll specifically in the gore compared to the second half, like the two halves. The opening scene, you talked about that first 15 minutes being exciting on the trucks and everything. The blood is this awful cartoony CGI looking blood, but then once like the terrorists invade the village, it's like practical limbs getting blown off. I'm like, why weren't y'all doing any of this at the beginning?
That guy standing by the fence and they like shoot his arm, and like his arm like gets shot like 4 times and twists. I was like, holy shit! What is that? I was like, is that a real? Is that a prosthetic arm that they're blowing up? Is that like his real arm that he's like contorting? Like that was crazy, and I was like, damn, this movie is about to get insane if they're pulling that stuff off.
Yeah, it gets far more brutal and gory in the second half than it does at the beginning, which is the beginning is like cartoony, but it's still fun.
Yeah.
Do you remember that little girl who did the Muay Thai and like kicked like one person, I think?
Yeah, she knees the one dude. She does like the Tony Jaa like 2-knee flying knee thing, and I was like, oh, there you go. Like I was saying earlier, you recognize the hallmarks from different, and I was like, I know that move.
So that little girl, I'd be curious to see what she's doing today. I truly have no idea. She had a couple movies as she got a little bit older, and she was like awesome. I don't know her name. I remember I said her name one time out loud, and I was like, that's a confusing name to say. But she has her own movie with Nathan Jones. I'm sure you've seen Fury Road, Mad Max Fury Road.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The giant bald guy whose name I'm totally blanking on in that movie, who's like, I got a baby brother.
Oh yeah. I know who you're talking about. I can't remember his name.
He blew up in Thailand for a little bit.
Oh,
and
really?
So he has a movie called Muay Thai Giant, and she stars alongside him in that. But then there's this kid. It's not a kids movie. It's a movie that stars kids. It's not a kids movie. There's a movie called fucking Power Kids. And it's kids taking down these terrorists who have like invaded a hospital. It's Die Hard in a hospital with kids.
Yeah.
I love it. These kids are they have a fight scene with this dude named Johnny Tri Nguyen, and like they just are going to town on each other. The behind the scenes is interesting because like you see him
Power Kids.
Power Kids. There's like the behind the scenes is fun because you see him just like fully throw a kid or like lay into a kid with a kick, and then as soon as the director yells cut, he like runs over to them and is like, "Are you okay?" Because like they're going to town on each other.
Oh, okay. Her name is Sasisa Jindamani.
Probably.
I mean, it's the only person I can see who was in Power Kids
And Born to Fight.
Born to Fight and Muay Thai Giant.
Muay Thai Giant. She's great. But like that, the final fight between those little kids, which she's involved in that fight, the little kids and Johnny Nguyen is amazing. It's brutal, but she's fantastic. Like she's just kind of a cute kid who gets to throw like a kick or two in this, but like she's like actually like great. I'd be curious to see what she's doing now because that was 20 years ago.
Well, she's only been in 3 movies, and they were the 3 you mentioned.
I mean, it'd be cool to see if she's like a Thai champion or something.
Yeah, maybe
like
she's doing something sick.
So what did you think of a lot of the crazy stunt work going on in this movie?
Stunt work was really cool. Like I said, I think the kind of like standout stunts in the movie is the way in which the stunts incorporate the different kind of like sports. I really liked, and maybe like I'm getting ahead of a little bit ahead here talking about this, but my favorite thing in this movie is like the national pride aspect of them being like, we are Thai, we fight, like that's why we are like we are born to fight, you know.
It really works, like them sitting there huddled together, and then like the national anthem plays on the radio and they all just start singing it and they all stand up and you're just like, even I'm not at all Thai. But I was like, go,
I was
get
like,
him.
me too, you know. And I loved that part of it. And then the way that kind of like finds its way into certain things, like the soccer player, for example, the soccer player who uses like these like other soccer balls. And earlier in the movie, he's like, oh, I can't use these like harder wicker balls because those hurt. But like once he has this like Thai pride like pumping through his veins, all of a sudden he's like whipping those things at the terrorist heads and like knocking them out. Like, I love that.
I made a note of that guy. I didn't write down what the sport is called. So there's the soccer player. So there's the guy, and I kind of laughed about it because there's a guy who there's a Thai flag, and it falls, and he catches it, and that's the soccer player. And I laughed at that because when he catches that flag for the rest of the movie, he never put it down.
He just runs around with the
He's
flag.
running everywhere with that flag. So he's the soccer player. There's the other guy who's talking about the ball being too hard. I didn't write down what the sport is called. Have you ever seen like the kicking volleyball? It's essentially like volleyball, but that's him. That's his sport.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's why he was like kicking like super high and everything.
Yeah, when I was in the Philippines, I remember I was like walking down this like backcountry road one time, and I saw these kids. I believe I was in Danao at the time, which is the gun capital of the Philippines. So have you seen those like videos of like kids in the Philippines just like walking around with handguns?
I've probably come across something like that before.
There was like some guy like walking around. There's like a group of kids, and all of a sudden like one just like pulls out like a 9mm. It's like, and I'm like, oh yeah, dude, that's welcome to Danao. But in Danao, I remember I came across this group of kids, and they had one of those wicker balls, and they had hung it from like a tree branch, and they were jumping up and trying to like basically like do backflips to like kick it.
Yeah,
and it was like tall enough where like me as like a 6 foot tall like American could get like kind of close to it. So I was like, I'm gonna try it. So like I got up and I like tried to hit those things are hard. I mean, I don't think it's exactly the same thing because like this is the Philippines and that's Thailand, but there is a lot of like like cultural osmosis that happens there in that country, and so I could easily see where those like Thai balls like found their way over there. But the one that I played with was like really hard, and I don't remember the name of the sport, but they like practice for it by hanging it from like a tree branch. You like jump up and like try to
just get as high as you can to kick it.
Yeah, and you gotta like flip your body because you're supposed to get your foot high like he does, and it's really hard.
I'd imagine. No, I'm good there. I am not the most flexible person in the world, so I'm good with that. What was your favorite, I guess, sort of sport fight that happened? Sport fight stunt.
I love when like a sport that has like no business being like I've seen this kind of thing like in other movies where like you take someone who has like a very specific skill and you just like translate that into the fight somehow. The gymnast doing the what was that called?
Like a pommel horse.
Yeah, the pommel horse thing. I love that. That was like really fun.
And you know what? So of course it's automatically going to make you think of the movie Gymkata, which I've never seen. I don't want to. The big complaint with that movie is that the guy essentially was just like, because the main character in that, the guy was of course a gymnast, but he couldn't do anything on non-gym equipment pretty much. So he's like running through a village or a town or something, and there's just a pommel horse there, and he uses the pommel horse to fight. Whereas like I compared it to this, where I'm like, this guy just found a barrel,
and he's like,
and he treated the barrel like a pommel horse. I'm like, that's great.
It's cool. It's like a cool way to like incorporate those like stunts into it. And when he like, again, when there's like the explosion and he like flips away from it and is doing like a twisting flip thing. It was like, and again, it was like the first thing that brought me back to like, oh shoot, these are like Olympic
athletes.
Yeah. And then obviously like when his sister does like the taekwondo and like whoops that guy's ass, like that was cool too. Although that's like her sport is fighting, so it's not quite the same.
I got a real kick out of the balance beam fight. It's only like a few seconds long, but as soon as she hopped on that balance beam and like was kicking people on the balance beam, I was like, hell yes, this is cool.
Yeah, I dig it.
What did you think of Dan Chupong in this, our main character?
I mean, like, again, I mean, he reminded me of John McClane. He doesn't have the like snark. He's like a very serious character. Like they're not joking around with him at all. But I liked the character when it came to like the fighting. I didn't like connect with him a whole lot.
Yeah, he's not like a well-defined character.
He's not super defined, super complex. Like he's a guy who like happens to be with his sister because he's like worried about her leaving on this like charity trip, and then good intuition to have gone on
Turns
this.
out he was right.
And so like then he just like fights guys, and but yeah, I thought like the performance was fine. The character just like wasn't quite like someone that you like latch onto and go, I love this character. But I thought like the stunts were fantastic.
Yeah, one fight that I come back to this movie all the time with is when they're hitting each other with the burning 2x4s, and there's just like sparks and cinder going everywhere as they're just like bashing each other with these things.
Yeah.
And like there's no way to fake that. Like
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, it's just fire, and and so I think you have the same Dragon Dynasty set as I have back here probably. There's like a 1 hour long documentary on that, and so I watched that, and he talked about it, and that like they tried to use like a really soft wood, and it just wasn't working. It was too flimsy. It was breaking. It was burning too fast or whatever. So the only solution was just to use hard wood.
That's
and then
sick.
he talked about like how they're just hitting each other with cinder and burning wood the whole time. And he talked about like he's like, I had blisters all over my body. I'm like, yeah, not good.
Dude,
The
that's
dude's
rad.
air time is crazy. Like the way he was jumping up to kick people, and he would do some crazy twist that I've never seen in anything else. Like, I don't know. I don't believe it was wires. He just could twist and contort crazily in the air before kicking somebody.
It's like manipulating his like gravity somehow by just like changing how much space his body has to the ground. It's like he goes up, and then like right when he should be falling, he like kind of twists again, and you're like,
Yeah.
how you doing
No,
that?
yeah. Don't have that. I don't have that kind of body control. But even then, like even outside of the fights and that way, the other stunts he was doing, like even at the beginning of the movie when he falls over the front of the truck and bounces off the hood of the truck or something, or the motorcycle stunts he has at the end, like he like rides a dirt bike, hits something, and goes flying through like the wooden scaffolding of a house. And like it's fully him just like taking that massive bump
Yeah.
that like could not have felt good. Like even if the landing is padded, you're still just like hitting all
Going
that stuff on the
through
way
all that wood. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like
it's-
hopefully there's no mistakes, and like one of those pieces of wood, you land just perfectly perpendicular to it, and you get a really gnarly piece of wood shoved into your stomach or something, you know?
Yeah, just the amount of things that can go wrong.
Speaking of the motorcycle, my second favorite explosion in the entire movie is when he crashes the motorcycle into the
Front of the truck.
to the front of the truck, and then the whole thing explodes.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
It's very comedic, and like, I feel like you've seen like multiple movies like make fun of something like that, because like there's almost no there's something on the front of the truck that the motorcycle really hits, and then just everything goes.
And then the whole thing just like it hits the top cab, like the top of the cab, and then like the wheel kind of like goes through the windshield, but like then it kind of like bounces back off a little bit, and then the whole truck just boom explodes, and you're like, sick, dude. I'm in. Like I don't care.
Yeah, I remember having the same feeling with like Ong Bak, because they have that like that car chase with the things that are not cars, the little cab things. And there's at one point where like two of them collide or something, and then there's like a big explosion, and I'm just like, there's not enough stuff there to explode like that. There's not enough gasoline involved in those vehicles. There's not enough anything in there to that big of an explosion.
Yeah, that's where like when people will be like, I can't say when people point to stuff like that and they go, "Oh, see that's unrealistic. That would never happen."
I don't really complain too much stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm like, no, I like pointing out that stuff wouldn't happen because that shit's hilarious. Like that's fun.
Yeah.
Like you're watching a movie. Like let it be fun. Let it be a movie.
Yeah.
Which brings me to I won't jump to it because I know you're gonna bring it up. So I'll let you can. What's your next question?
Well, what you got? What you bring up
Dude,
here?
the rocket that blows that dude up
Yeah.
is my favorite part of the entire movie. I watched it 3 times.
Yeah, no, what's I guess so you mentioned sort of your favorite stunts there. Do you have like a particular fight scene or anything that sticks out there? Particular death or anything?
Let's see. I'm thinking.
I got falling off drugs. I'm a drug. I was looking at all my notes from this one here.
I think my favorite like fight was probably like the early stuff. I love like I mentioned earlier, I loved that opening scene so much. Yeah. I love when like a scene is like holy, like there's no way to fake this. Yeah. Like them on the trucks, there's no way to fake that. You can try to cushion it as much as possible. Like
there's like a little bit of like there's like a light pad under some dirt at some
point. They had like clearly like a lot of dirt and then padding underneath this like weird kind of thing so that they could like jump and fall off the truck. But I was also going to mention the 2x4 like swinging the like wood around because that scene, not only is it like so well choreographed, but I really loved the visual flavor of it. How like it's in the dark and then you have it slow motion and there's these like sparks that are just like flying all around, and the sound editing of it too is like it's like almost everything's muted except for like the like wood hitting these guys. And yeah, I thought like those are 2 of my like favorite scenes. And then the like we are Thai and then everyone just like going crazy. The thing that shocked me honestly was the way that the terrorists like just like mow down people. Like it's usually like you kind of have there's a lot more like bullet like not plot armor so to speak, but like when something like that's happening, like there's a lot more kind of like bullets hitting the ground and not so many people, but they're just like taking out a lot of people in this movie, which surprised me. But you gotta, I'm now like worried that I'm blending the 2 movies together. The RPG scene is Born to Fight. It is not Eastern Condors, correct? Where they hit the guy with the rocket and his whole body explodes.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, one of like the big final bad guy, like the big actual like boss guy.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah, there's like General Yang, which is not the like there's like the terrorist guy who's like the face of the group, and isn't there like a second guy?
There's another guy. Yeah.
Yeah, the guy that got imprisoned in the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
The guy who calls for his release also.
That guy gets blown up.
Yeah, with a rocket, and it's so good. Like meat chunks are flying everywhere when that guy explodes, and that's my favorite part of the whole movie.
Yeah, there was one much smaller role I really appreciated. There was an old man who was like protecting some kids, and he had a gun. And eventually, like runs out of ammo, and he starts kicking people. He's like a really, really old guy, and I recognized him because he's an Ong Bak for a split second. There's the big club fight scene in Ong Bak. He's there like taking bets. He's holding the money, and he looks and he's watching, and every move that Tony Jaa does in that, he's naming it. He's saying, "Oh, this," and so he's in Ong Bak because it's weird watching foreign movies not knowing the culture of who people are, because like that was actually like a really big cameo because he's like an old legendary like Thai champion, like Thai boxing champion. So he's in Ong Bak as that, like where he just gets to be like, oh, I know that move. because that's, his little cameo there. So then he gets to be in this for a little bit where he gets to throw a few kicks and just watch this old Thai boxing champion to do that. I remember there's this Japanese movie called Kaiju Mono. It's this right here. It is pro wrestlers versus kaiju.
Dude,
so pro wrestlers
sign me up
and fights the kaiju. But this is I bring this up because to bring up something of like, to watch something from another culture and not understand any of the references because you don't know the culture. Mm-hmm. Because like every 5 seconds there's someone mentions something, or there's a person showing up that's like actually a reference to this other thing in Japanese culture. To be like, I don't know what's happening. It's like, the only thing I can think of is like, I don't know. Imagine somebody, I think this is the most random movie to pop up in my head right now. Imagine somebody doesn't watch any American movies and then they just decide to watch Austin Powers 3. And so the beginning of the movie, you get like Gwyneth Paltrow, Tom Cruise, Kevin Spacey, Danny DeVito, and somebody just watches that and they're like, I don't know who any of these people
I don't understand what, and the whole theater's going nuts.
Yeah.
You know what it's probably feels like is like when I saw Five Nights at Freddy's 2 and had never played the games. I'd only seen the first movie less than 24 hours before, and I went to like the like special screening for critics, but there's also like a fan screening that they had invited fans to, and the place is going nuts for things, and I'm like, what am I looking at here? What is this?
I saw it and there was a guy in front of me who was like freaking out about everything, and in my head I was just like, calm down, guy, we're the same age.
Dude, baffling movie, dude.
I mean, I get it. If you're a hardcore nerd for something, you're gonna go crazy. I've been that guy in a few movies.
Yeah, I have to.
Yeah,
I have to.
I don't have too many more notes left on this one. It's not a whole lot to talk about in this one. There's so little to talk about that I couldn't, even going through all the special features of this movie, I couldn't find a good fun kung fu fun fact for this one.
Oh dang.
Do you have I guess do you have any more major thoughts on Born to Fight?
I don't think so. I did like the kind of like extorting the government part of it.
Yeah.
I think part of me was expecting that to like become bigger.
Be more. Yeah.
Obviously they had like
Nothing
the
really comes out
nuke.
of that.
They had like the nuke. There's the dream sequence we didn't talk about where he dreams that the nuke fires.
I don't remember the dream sequence at all.
Yeah, he like has the dream sequence where like the nuke fires and then like hits Bangkok and like nukes Bangkok, and then he's like, "Ugh," and like wakes up in the middle of
they gave it a Terminator 2 Judgment Day scene.
They did, yeah. Do you not remember that? And then
I don't remember that at
it's
all.
like the silliest looking explosion in the middle of Bangkok, and then he's just like, and then that's when he's like laying in the middle of all the people in the opening square. But the stuff with like the government, because they're all watching the nuke missile, like they're watching this like live feed of everything, right? Which again plays very similar to Die Hard, where even to the part where like Hans Gruber, if you remember, like he requests the release of all these like people that he like heard about on like Dateline or like read about in like Time magazine and stuff. But in this one they request the release of like their guy, which is the General Yang. So like the government's watching, and they like didn't really do much with the government after Yang showed up. Like they didn't try to like heighten it, except for like also we have this nuke and we'll kill hostages, and the government's just like, oh no. But oh shoot, I was gonna say one more thing. Oh, the nuke fires, and it just like flies away. It just like flies away at the end of the movie. I was very confused on like, it seems like when the machine got crushed, like all of a sudden the nuke's just like, where do I go? Like flies up and away. So that part like made me laugh. It's like it feels like when they were writing it and they're like, shh, shoot, like we don't know like how to like we fired this nuke now. We have to like figure out how to
Like
like
they didn't have it in the budget to have a good nuke explosion in there.
yeah. They're like, okay, who do we want to nuke? Like where are we gonna have this thing land? So like, we'll just have it like fly off. Because they already blew their nuke budget with the dream sequence.
Dream. I just had a thought and I'm kind of losing it. I don't know where that thought went. It's kind of gone. The national anthem scene where everybody gets hyped up, and again, the movie kind of gets you involved. The one thing, there's a movie that made me think of called Wolf Warrior 2. It's a Chinese film starring and directed by Wu Jing, where Frank Grillo actually plays the villain. And there's a scene in that actually works like tremendously well, where there's like a base of like an army general and all these other people, and they have like a live feed of what's going on at the center of everything happening, and they're holding back on sending in whatever, a drone, a bomb, whatever they're doing, like, because they don't want to, they don't want there to be casualties. And they're getting a live feed, and eventually the bad guys just start like killing people. And like you start seeing it in slow motion of the people dying, and like it cuts to the base where you see people watching and starting to get all teared up and crying, and it cuts to like this general's face, and he's trying to keep it together, but you see his eyes getting kind of watery, and eventually he just yells fire. And I remember like that was really powerful. Actually, that worked really really well. That was really
cool.
good. Yeah, I had another thought and it's completely gone. I have no idea where the hell it went. Well, let's go ahead and wrap this one up. I'm going to hit you with some final questions here.
Sure.
Based on these two movies that we've watched and talked about here, do you think, just from this experience, that you prefer an 80s Sammo Hung style Hong Kong action or 2000s Panorama style Thai action?
I'm
Probably the Hong Kong.
I'm more of the Hong Kong 80s Golden Harvest guy.
Yeah. I don't think this is the very best example of like what Thai action can do. I think it's a very fun movie. Mm-hmm. Obviously the crazy stunts and all the like the different sports people doing all their crazy stuff. I think even Dan Chupong in this is fantastic. Oh, Dan Chupong, that's what I was going to talk about. A movie that does a similar thing of calling the government and being like, release this hostage for us. Did you ever watch Expendables 4?
I skipped the Expendables 4. After the diminishing returns of Expendables 3, I was like, I don't think I need to see this fourth one. But
I saw Expendables 4 because the villain is Iko Uwais from The Raid.
Correct.
So also because they brought in Tony Jaa, which I will say Tony Jaa has some decent fights. So just based on them bringing in those two, I'm like, okay, Expendables 4, fine. I'll go watch you.
I didn't know that Iko was the villain in it.
He's the main bad guy. Don't waste your time.
Okay, all right, okay.
He gets the big final fight with Jason Statham, and they kill him way too easily. In fact, I'm pretty sure he died off screen.
Can I? Sorry, I don't want to like cut you off, but like, does it not like piss you off? It pisses me off the way that like American cinema has been like, we want Iko Uwais, and then they just waste him in everything that they put him in.
The one that really pissed me off was Mile 22, and I guess probably also Snake Eyes
and Star Wars.
But Snake Eyes wasted everybody. Yeah, that one. So. Yeah, I remember being very aware of all the news coming out with of Force Awakens, and when I had heard that they had cast Yayan Chechep and Iko from The Raid to be in it, I was like, in my head, I was like, they're the Knights of Ren.
So
because no one knew anything about Force Awakens at the time, so I was like, they got to be the Knights of Ren.
Why else would you cast them?
And everything, yeah.
Yeah.
And then when they show up, I immediately like perk up in my seat, and then 5 seconds later they're dead. So yes, I was very, very angry.
Yeah.
But Mile 22 is the one that really drove me mad, because all the promo coming out of it leading up to the movie was Peter Berg and Mark Wahlberg saying, oh, we got this guy Iko, like we gave him full reign on the action, let him do whatever he wanted to do, and man, he went crazy. He crafted some amazing action for this movie. I'm like, cool. And then Peter Berg or somebody got in the editing room and just fucking trashed it, ripped it all to shreds. I'm like,
It's
what
crazy.
why would you spend all that marketing money and time bragging about this dude you brought in to make your movie even better, and then just go into the editing room and turn it all into fucking a paper shredder?
Yeah.
Like, it's just a waste of time, yours and mine. But I bring up the Expendables 4 there because they do the same idea where they have a nuke on the boat and they call the government and they're like, release this hostage. We want this hostage. It's like this guy that's important to them, supposedly. And this guy gets off this like helicopter, this hostage, and like dressed all in orange with his hands cuffed together, and they take the bag off his head, and it's Dan Chu Pong.
Oh, really?
So sitting in that movie theater, I'm already hyped because Tony Jaa's here, and he got a fairly actually pretty good fight scene for Expendables 4. I actually like Expendables 2. But he like Tony Jaa gets a solid fight scene. We haven't yet gotten the terrible fight scene between Iko and Jason Statham yet, so I'm not yet let down about how bad that's going to be. And then Dan Chu Pong shows up, and I'm sitting in this mostly empty movie theater thinking, Dan Chu Pong is here? Shit's about to really hit the fucking fan. And he died like 3 seconds later. No. And I was like, what are we doing? Why are we just going to bring in Dan Chu Pong and just kill him? What are we even doing here? So, yeah, that's a worse example of something happening to like what happens to Iko. Yeah.
That was the thing that pissed me off about those movies, just like in general, is that like it felt like they had like their core group of guys, and then they would just like bring in people for cameos, and then like do nothing with those people. It's like, okay, like why did you go out and get these people for these roles to then do nothing with them? And that one sounds like I didn't really miss much with Expendables.
You didn't miss anything. Nope, not at all.
So the one with Megan Fox, isn't Megan Fox in that movie?
She is in that
Gina.
movie.
Gina.
There is one guy I'll say he's good in it. There's a guy named Darren Knopp, I think. I follow him on Instagram. He's one of his biggest things is that he was Oscar Isaac's stunt double in Moon Knight. And he was very, very good in that. He has the fight scene, I think, with Tony Jaa, and that's like, again, they did a really, really good job with that.
David
really
Knopp. He plays the
Darren
Thai
Knopp, I think.
Merc.
Yeah. Was it David or Darren? I thought it was Darren.
David.
Oh, okay.
According to the... Oh, no. It's Darren Knopp. There's two Knopps.
I just know because I follow him on Instagram. That's all I know.
Yeah. He's in... Yeah, he does way more... Yeah, this is the one that you definitely are following.
Yeah,
who's
Moon-
presumably
he is
his
Moon Knight.
brother.
Yeah. But yeah, that's probably enough about Expendables 4. But again, I do like Expendables 2 quite a bit, even though Scott Adkins does not get a good enough fight scene.
Agreed.
Yeah. So you're leaning a bit more, well, much more, I'm sure, Sammo Hong Kong over at least this movie's version of Thai action.
Yeah.
Just based on this experience here, and I know you have your background as much as you do in kung fu and martial arts cinema. I'm sure I know the answer to this because you have your watch list sitting behind you there. Do you think you'll be checking out any more kung fu or martial arts anytime soon?
I think I'll continue. I think I'll press on.
Hell yeah. Do you have any final thoughts of these two movies, or just this whole this little martial arts journey you've taken here?
Questions around this one, no, but I do have a question for you. I'm gonna pull.
Yeah.
This will be for the people that have made it 2 hours into this. I'm gonna pull 5 martial arts movies off my shelf.
Okay.
Seeming it's somewhat random.
I'll turn this
I'm
into a YouTube show.
gonna have you rank them.
Okay.
And if there's one that you have not seen, you just tell me and I'll swap it out.
Like
All
as,
right.
as much as I've seen several hundreds and hundreds of kung fu and martial arts films, the genre is so massive that there is plenty I have not watched.
Okay. Let's see.
It's a big pool.
Yeah.
And I like swimming in it.
And honestly, 95% of my martial arts stuff is in my garage. Okay, let's see. There's 4. And
I'm sure if you ask my wife, that's where the martial arts stuff belongs.
That's what my wife says too. Let's see.
In fact, I do have, so the shelf behind me, and there's also a smaller shelf to my left, which is getting too overfilled. This is all my martial arts stuff. It stays in this room, which one, because I think it's a good background for this, for my YouTube channel. But I do have a whole ass big tall movie shelf downstairs in the living room. There is no martial arts on that shelf whatsoever.
Okay, here we go. I think I've got... Yeah, I feel pretty good about this. Okay. All right, I want you to rank these 5 movies.
I'm blind ranking here.
Blind ranking. Okay. So I'm just gonna read them off first, and then I will hold them up, and then you get to rank them.
Okay.
Number 1.
So this is 5 movies, right?
Johnny Toes PTU.
Haven't seen it.
Ah, crap. Okay, we'll get it. We'll get another one. Okay. Stephen Chow's Shaolin Soccer.
Shaolin Soccer. If I'm gonna blind rank 5 movies, I'm gonna put that at 3.
Okay, at 3. Okay, next. Donnie Yen. Flashpoint.
Flashpoint is a very fine movie that I think is much more boring than people give it credit for, and then it has an absolutely 10 out of 10 amazing finale. I'm gonna put it number 4.
Number 4. Okay. This one's not martial arts, but it is Hong Kong from one of the GOATs, and that is John Woo's The Killer.
John Woo's The Killer. We're gonna go comfortably put that at number 2.
All right, comfortably at 2.
Hope seeing what comes out. What else comes out?
Okay, and then we have from Lee Chung-chi, Invisible Target.
Was this one directed by Isn't that directed by Benny Chan? I thought it was directed by Benny Chan.
Stunts are by Lee Chung-chi. I'm
Okay, gotcha.
wrong. It is Benny Chan.
I love Benny Chan. Rest in peace. Passed away about 3 years ago. People would think I am crazy for putting it over The Killer and Shaolin Soccer, but since this is a blind ranking, I gotta do it. And I do truly love this movie. It is wholly. You know what? I'm gonna check my letterbox real quick. I'm gonna tell you right now. I'll put it number 1.
Number 1.
Let me check my letterbox real quick and see what I said on that one, because I love that movie. I adore it. I think it's just a wholly entertaining, good movie.
Nice. All right. Well, you only have your number 5 slot left. So
He's gonna fucking pull out 8-diagram pole fighter.
all right. Kung Fu Hustle.
I mean, I prefer that over what did I put it number 4? Flashpoint. I prefer it over Flashpoint a little bit, but you know that's fine. Blind rank, put it at number 5, but
There
that's
we go.
fine.
All right.
I do like it a lot.
Your blind ranking here was Invisible Target, The Killer, Shaolin Soccer, Flashpoint, and Kung Fu Hustle. Not bad. I mean, these are the ones that I had on the shelf at the moment. So I thought about pulling out the whole box and just like kind of having things ready to pull out, but last minute decided not to do that.
Pulling up my my Letterboxd review here, which is a much longer review than I typically write on Letterboxd. I gave it upon rewatch 4.5 out of 5. And I even put a heart on it. I said I like it, which I don't do that for most movies on Letterboxd, but I put a heart on it.
Nice. All right. Well, fiddlesticks. I'm gonna put that way higher up on the list then.
Again, it's just really, really entertaining. It's got really, really good characters. You get really invested in their story. A great finale. Andy On, Wu Jing, Nicholas T, Sean Yu, Jackie Chan's son, and JC Chan. It's just a solid cast.
Yeah. You're the my only friend on Letterboxd who has watched and rated Invisible Target. So now it's
how many ratings does it have on Letterboxd?
It has 171 reviews.
Needs more.
Though I can't see how many like ratings it has. The most ratings it has for any one
is
3.5. 3.5. 294 people.
Yeah. Looking at it right there. I've got 3 other friends on Letterboxd who have watched it. Yeah. My final question here for you is a very simple question, and that is, did you have fun?
Oh, of course. Of course. Like I said, I've been dying to be on this show. It just didn't work out the last time. But I would easily be here again. This, if you ask me, I'm 100% here.
Hell yeah, I'll definitely have to come back around to you because I've got of our whole community.
You got a whole bunch of people that you introduced to Kung Fu. But anytime.
That's the goal. That's been the goal on TikTok. The YouTube goal was always just like, I just want to talk about martial arts movies, so that's what I'm going to do. But then, like, something about the whole community on TikTok, I don't know if nobody was ever just interested or just it's just never something anybody thinks about or wants to talk about. Something about how the community operates on TikTok. My brain just said, well, now I have to make them think about it. So
I will tell
my
you,
goal on TikTok now is always just like, I need to educate people. I need to let people know that this exists and it's good.
I will tell you why you are kind of like the dominant voice on martial arts movies. Is that
on TikTok,
I'm sure
specifically on TikTok.
Specifically on TikTok.
There's a lot of people on YouTube that would be like that are great.
And it's letterboxed. This is why I think that you see like this disconnect. Because Letterboxd has kind of like created this like must watch list for people. And like when it comes to, I'm going to be really broad here, like Asian cinema in general, people tend to gravitate more towards
Wong Kar-wai and other
Wong
stuff.
Kar-wai, Park Chan-wook, and Akira Kurosawa. Like specifically Akira Kurosawa, who again I love because like that's who's in the Criterion Collection. That's who has like the highest ratings on Letterboxd. And admittedly, even for myself, one of my favorite movies is Harakiri. I don't know if you've seen Harakiri. Have you seen Masaki Kobayashi's?
I need to get around to it. I haven't seen it. So one of my blind spots. One of my blind spots is like is just straight up Japanese samurai movies.
Yeah. And yeah, like this is like people Seven Samurai, like I love Seven Samurai.
Yeah, I've seen
I like this one more. But I never would have watched this if it wasn't for Letterboxd. I'd never even heard of this in my entire life. I got Letterboxd and it's like the #1 rated movie, so I go and watch it. And I like Letterboxd has kind of like, especially on TikTok, molded like what movies people should be watching. And so because of that, unless it's like super highly acclaimed and just like constantly in the like Letterboxd mind sphere, no one's talking about it.
Yeah.
And so that's where I think what you're doing is like so important. I mean, the day that I discovered Dragon Dynasty freaking changed my life. I was like,
Dragon
you're telling me
Dynasty collection's massive.
you're telling me that there's like 90 movies that I've never heard of. Some of them I had obviously heard of, but like you're doing like 90 movies that are just out there in the wind that I can like watch. And these things are like hand chosen, curated because they're sick. And I watched the first one, which is, I believe, Killzone, and I was like, holy shit, dude! Like this is the best. Yeah, and that took me on like this path, which has changed the way that like I was adding movies to my watch list, what I was adding to my watch list. But I think for so many people, especially on TikTok, it's about talking about what is popular, talking about what is most acclaimed.
What's your favorite director's favorite movie?
Yeah, like that kind of stuff.
That.
And so I think that's where like the conversation gravitates to. It's hard sometimes to talk about movies that no one has seen from 25, 30, 40, 50 years ago. It's so much harder to do that than it is to talk about, you know, the newest MCU movie.
It's genre cinema. It's people. It's a similar conversation of talking about like what gets the attention at the Oscars, of like what, especially like the film bro types, which is not a vast majority of film talk of the film talk community. I don't think a majority of the people on there are your film bro types, but a lot of the film nerds are going to be like, I want to watch the most acclaimed stuff. And a lot of that is not going to be genre cinema. It's not going to be it's not going to be them or whatever, like some old crazy sci-fi film from the 1940s or 50s. It's not going to be some B-movie, low-budget slasher, or it's not going to be some rando Hong Kong kung fu movie. It's going to, and those times that people will say Hong Kong cinema, when you say Hong Kong cinema, I'm immediately like, we're watching a Sammo Hung movie. We're watching Lau Kar Lung, Yuan Biao, Chang Che, Jackie Chan, whatever. We're going old school Hong Kong kung fu. That's what I think of when someone says Hong Kong cinema. But a vast majority of people there, when you say Hong Kong cinema, the first movie most of them will say is, oh, we're watching In the Mood for Love. Which I love. I love In the Mood for Love.
I think it's the most romantic movie of all time.
But it's not the first movie that I think of when I think of Hong Kong cinema.
Me neither.
But yeah, so there's that. That's that. The reason that when you were saying like the voice or whatever for martial arts movies, and I specify on TikTok, is because there is a much wider community of us, many of them older than I, who have a vaster knowledge, who grew up
I'm
more
sure.
in like the 80s and stuff. Specifically, I'll say my cat is messing with something and I want them to stop. There's a man, an older British black dude named Rodney Dennis, who to many of us is the authority. I've even seen like Hollywood action directors who are like kung fu nerds. When they want to talk about martial arts movies, they will refer to Rodney Dennis.
Oh, wow.
So I'm like, I'm friends with him on Facebook. I'm friends with him all over social media. I've talked to him a few times. Rodney's the guy. Rodney's our GOAT.
I like it.
Like, I'm good. Rodney's great.
There you go.
Yeah, that's that though. Brandon, where can people find you?
You can find me on TikTok primarily. I do have stuff on Instagram, and I just don't use Instagram as much. So pretty much everything I do goes through TikTok. You can find me there, Brandontoksmovies. But also, if you want to follow me on Letterboxd, where I review every single thing that I watch. I try to like dig into it for the most part. You can also find me on Letterboxd, Brandontoksmovies. And just recently, I started up a serialized and a backlogged, which I don't know if you've done either of these. Serialized is for TV shows. So every episode of a TV show that I watch, I try to like, dig into a little bit and like, what was my favorite thing about it? Not just like, oh, this is what happened, or give like a silly little quip. Like I really want to like talk about, oh, this shot I loved, or this moment that I loved. So on Serialized, I'm Brandontoksmovies, but like my handle's Brandtoksmovies. Some of these, it's like I'm one or two characters long, so I gotta like shorten it. But then Backlogged, I just recently found out about, is like basically Letterboxd for video games. And so I don't know like how much video games you play, but I this last year started playing a lot more like story driven games. My entire life I've just played Halo, like that's it. Halo all the time. But recently I was like, I'm gonna start playing some other stuff, and so I log and review every single video game that I play, and that has been like so much fun. So you can find me there, Brandontoksmovies as well.
That makes me want to ask you, have you ever played Sleeping Dogs?
I have played the first like 45 minutes of Sleeping Dogs.
Okay, just checking. It's great. It's one of my favorite games.
It's really fun. It was like one of those games like I got with Games with Gold on Xbox Live like 15 years ago. And then I was like, oh, let me play this game. And I played for like an hour, maybe 45 minutes. And then I just like never picked it back up again. But the first hour was really fun. Yep,
and we're getting the movie. Directed by Timo Chianto.
Very exciting. Really? That's cool.
Hell yeah. Did you ever see The Night Comes for Us?
Yes.
The guy who directed that is going to be making Sleeping Dogs.
Nice. That's
very exciting. Before I wrap this thing up, I had one more question for you that I was thinking about at the very, very top of this thing, because you said you spent some time in the Philippines. Have you seen any Filipino action, Filipino martial arts?
I own By Bust.
That's what I was going to think of.
And that's the only one. I actually have not watched it, but I own it.
It's in my head a controversial movie, and I say that because part of my brain is like, this movie has a lot of problems, and the other part of my brain is like, but there's some really good stuff in there. There's another movie on Netflix called Maria, which is mostly pretty solid. It's okay. It's pretty fine.
I've never heard of that movie, Maria.
It's a Filipino Netflix original, I think, and it was okay.
That you're not. Oh, wait. This one. Okay. I pulled it up and I was like, I don't think you're talking about the movie starring Angelina Jolie where she plays an opera singer.
No.
I'm talking about from Pedring Lopez. Oh, Christine Reyes?
That name sounds familiar. That sounds like the name I watched.
Yeah, she is the lead in that. Okay, interesting. I recognize people in it, but I've not seen this.
I just wanted to ask you if you've seen any some Filipino action.
I'm gonna add it to my list because I want to watch this now.
It's okay. don't quote me as saying it's amazing. It's completely fine.
When I post my review, I'm gonna say, so Tristan told me this movie was gonna be good, and it sucked. So
kind of blows. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. But yeah, that's just the final question there that I had on my head at the very, very top of the show after you brought that up.
Yeah.
But be sure to go follow Brandon all across his social media. You want to say that one more time? What that was on TikTok?
Brandontoksmovies. That's TOKS Talks. Yeah, Brandontoksmovies on TikTok and Instagram, and then you can follow me on Letterboxd, Serialized, and Backlogged for fun side stuff.
I will have all of those links that I can find in the description down below there. If you have a link tree, that will definitely also be down there. The easy access for everything to get there.
That's the easiest place to find me. Yeah, just link the link tree. You can find everything there.
I'll have it there. People will find you. People will follow. People will subscribe. He's about to start watching Legend of Korra, and I will too because I've never seen it. So make sure you go follow him on all those platforms, especially TikTok. You can find me at all of the standard places, Instagram, Martial Arts Film Freak, Tristan_Glover, and screw Twitter. Don't give a fuck about Twitter. Martial Arts Film Freak on TikTok, as we've been saying. Martial Arts Film Freak on the Facebook page as well. If this is your first time here because you followed Brandon, you wanted to hear him go from Avatar to talk about some great old school Hong Kong Kung Fu and some fantastic modern Thai action. Modern? It was 20 years ago. It's not really modern anymore, I guess. We're old. If this was your first time watching because you followed him over here, or if you just came over because you like, I don't know, a little bit of Kung Fu. If this is your first time watching, I welcome you to Kung Fu.